Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to MandoLessons Live. I am your now caffeinated host, Baron Collins Hill. Hope you're all doing well. Ooh, got a little thing at the bottom there. Yeah, welcome. It's been a couple weeks since I did one of these because of Fiddle Hell, which was a great time. I took some awesome classes with a bunch of great folks, some really nice ones with Andy Statman, one of my favorite mandolin players of all time. If you didn't make it, I know some of you were there. Great to see you there. And if you didn't make it, you can always access, I think there were like over 100, or like maybe 200, maybe more. It says on the website how many workshops there were over the course of the weekend. And you can access all of the now pre-recorded lessons for the next 3 months if you either were there or want to sign up now and get access to all that stuff. There's all sorts of different instruments: fiddle, mandolin, banjo, cello, you name it, it's there, guitar. All right, well, got folks tuning in from all over. London, Savannah, Georgia, Indiana, Tennessee, Minnesota. A great question about muscle memory from Jim. UK, Michigan, New Brunswick, Kentucky, London, Alberta, Canada, Costa Mesa, California, Michigan. All right. So, welcome all. This is maybe the first time, at least, that people haven't chimed in from outside of, at least in a long time, from outside of the U.S. or North America and the U.K. Usually with some folks from South America. If you're here from South America, say hello. If this is your first time here, say hello. I love seeing new faces pop up. I see a bunch of familiar faces, but definitely chime in if it's your first time. We like to keep it nice and relaxed and chill here. The way these work is it's just an hour to ask questions. I'm pretty much here for you. No question is too simple. No question is too advanced. I love it all. It's all good. I love learning from all of you and trying to help you out at the same time. So Jim had a great question already. Jim says, what do you do when your muscle memory takes detours? Which it is wont to do. This is a good question. I think there's a couple different options. One is, I think maybe the way I approach it is in practice, like when I'm really working on getting something right. If my muscle memory takes detours, I then try to fix it. A really concrete and regular example in my world is like trying to learn a tune, and you just get a different idea of what the first phrase is in your head, or like once you play something wrong the first time, your brain thinks, hey, that must be right. My fingers just did it. And they kind of latch onto that, even if it's not right. And that causes all sorts of problems. So I think, the classic solution of going back, playing it slow, repeating it, really getting, kind of rebuilding that muscle memory of the problem spot is a good thing to do if you're kind of working on, properly, for lack, in the world of fiddle tunes, sometimes it's just a variation that happens, and that's cool. But if you're trying to nail down a really specific melody, I think going back and trying to fix it, kind of repeating it over and over and over and over, just anything you can do to scrub away the old muscle memory that isn't what you wanted, it's going to be super helpful. And then in like performance, or sort of, like you're in the middle of a tune, like I just was with Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase, which is the tune of the week. So we'll play a little bit of that at the end. A great 3-part C tune, a little bit crooked, super fun. So if you're, I was in the middle of that, and my fingers definitely took me for a walk there. I was doing all kinds of stuff that I didn't mean to do. And at that point, I just my philosophy is just kind of run with it. Like, you can either cringe and kind of tense up and hunch down and be like, oh, I hit a wrong note. Or you can just be like, well, that was weird, and just keep going. The nice thing about music is it's kind of art over time, which is not an axis that you necessarily get in a lot of different art. In visual art, maybe there's some visual art and visual artists that could make a similar thing. But I love music because, you know, once you've played a weird note and you're 5 seconds later, everybody's forgotten about it. And you're always sort of the most critical listener to your own playing. So you're hearing everything that you didn't play as you thought you might. And other people just straight up didn't notice. So, you know, in that case, sometimes I even just like let my muscle memory, what was the word you used? I liked it. Go detour? Yeah, I like to like, that's one of my favorite things to do is just either let my muscle memory deteriorate on purpose just to see what happens, or like, you know, just for a particular point in a tune, like when I was playing that. You just kind of throw in just a little bit of sort of letting your muscle memory kind of experiment a little bit. Don't kind of working to like get yourself out of your comfort zone to some extent on the fly. I think it has multiple benefits. One is it's going to create new melodic and rhythmic and harmonic ideas. And two, anything you can do to practice like being out of your comfort zone is going to make your improvisation and your music in general like a little more fluid, because anytime you hit a wrong note and then sort of react physically or like mentally, oh, I hit a wrong note, what did I do there? I shouldn't do that again. That's just going to kind of show through your music. Whereas if you're playing along, or you could play that's like letting it fly and be like, well, I hit wrong notes, let's keep going. Or you could go like, and then you're lost. So I think, you know, kind of rolling with it is my tactic. And people will just think you're playing jazz. Great question, though. I love thinking about that kind of stuff. All right, Moscow, Sri Lanka, excellent. That's what I like to see, all the non-North American and European folks chiming in. Most excellent. Thank you all for chiming in, that's great. Well, that was weird. Yep, I love that was weird. Oh, so good. Oh, great to see all these languages I can't understand in the chat. It warms my heart. Yeah, Victor Wooten is a great bass player with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones and a bunch of other projects. And an amazing teacher and musical thinker and improviser and like musical philosopher. There we go. Lewis said, did I hear Noah call muscle memory loss off-roading? I don't know, but I like that. Yeah, so Victor Wooten has a couple books, all of which are great. I haven't read them all, but I've heard great things about them all. I should read them. Yeah. And then another one of my favorite kind of musical books, kind of on like getting inside your head as a musician and like a social music player and sort of an introspective artist, is Effortless Mastery by Kenny Werner, who is a great jazz pianist. Even if you don't play any piano or any jazz, I barely play jazz at this point. He's talking about stuff that everybody can relate to. Yeah, there's always a right note nearby the wrong one. That's also true. An Irish reel of my choice. Oh, sure. Great suggestion. I haven't played Irish tunes in a while. Been kind of on an old-time kick. I'll play some stuff. Let's see what happens. Whoops. There we go. Some Irish tunes. First one, not on my website. It's a tune called My Marianne, also in the key of C, as is Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase. Not that many Irish tunes in the key of C. It's a single reel in the key of C. It's great. It's one of my favorite tunes. Very sweet. And then I played Miss Thornton's, which is on my website, and then I played, well, then I tried to go into Miss Monaghan's. But the first half of the first A, I played, speaking of muscle memory, I played Miss Thornton's in D. But then I got back on track, luckily. Not always something that I can count on is starting the wrong tune and then switching. But there we go. So those are those tunes. Great suggestion. Yeah, there's some nice mutual love for the Victor Wooten books. Oh, cool. I haven't heard them as audiobooks. I should check that out. All right, Joanne has a question. Trying desperately to learn double stops, Amazing Grace on my Eastman. When I try to do the double stops on the G and D on the 5th fret, the sound is awful. Interesting. So I think probably, do you mean like sort of in that zone where open G and D and 5th fret on the G and 5th fret on the D? If it's really, I think, the only thing to say there is a couple things. The only thing is a couple things. One is, just make sure you're like actually fretting both sets of strings. It's kind of an awkward in that double 5th fret. It's kind of an awkward thing. You can try putting 2 fingers in there, just to make sure you're actually able to get wherever your double stop is, trying to make sure that they're actually being fretted properly. And then from there, it's probably either a tuning or an instrument issue, making sure that you're kind of in tune with, once you get into double stops, the instrument itself needs to be really in tune. So make sure you're tuning to an electronic tuner or however you tune to really get really in tune. And then, if you're playing these notes, like an open G and a G on the 5th fret, and it's coming out sounding like this, then that probably means, and it just doesn't sound good and things sound really bad and it's not something that you physically are doing, that means you probably need to move your bridge around. I've got some lessons on this on my website, but what you can do is make a little harmonic on all the strings, but one at a time. So like the G strings, you just lightly put your finger over the 12th fret and you get this nice ringing harmonic sound. And then that note should be identical to actually pushing the 12th fret down. Same with the D, 12th fret harmonic, A, E. But if you're doing this, and you're getting a different note, that means the bridge needs to be moved. And you can do that yourself, just take it nice and slow. There's some lessons out there on setting up intonation. Rob Meldrum has a great PDF. I don't know exactly how to get it. He's on the Mandolin Cafe. I mean, I'm sure you can probably like look up, if you look up Rob M-E-L-D-R-U-M, Meldrum, I think is his last name. He's got a little book on like mandolin setup for the home musician. That's totally free, but kind of a donation accepted, kind of like how I run, which I appreciate. And I also have some lessons on like moving the bridge. And if you're really uncomfortable with it, you can take it to a shop and say, hey, my bridge isn't in the right spot, my intonation's really out, nothing's sounding good. That should also help you. Hopefully you can get that sorted out. Alright, we got some nice Michigan talk here. Spirit of music. Do you guys... Oh yeah, we're talking about Elderly Instruments, one of my favorite music stores of all time. Great folks, and a stunning collection of instruments. I've only been there once. A couple years ago, I was there with my friend Noah Fishman. Met up with Denise, and it was a good time. Denise and Lewis came up, and Noah and I did some workshops and some concerts. And yeah, hope to get back there someday. Alright, let's see. Yeah, Kevin MacLeod's Mandolin Monday on that beautiful Sobel mandolin. Woo, love it. Yep, so William's got to get his headstock scroll on his F-style fixed. That's a common thing that'll break. Not much holding those things on, unfortunately. Ooh, that's a good question. Do they have reasonably priced Dobros or Steels at Elderly? Probably. You could ask them anyway. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Pick direction for a waltz. Great question, and something I haven't done on my website yet. So it's gonna be down, up, down, up. Let me pick a random waltz here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. I'll pick one that's all I know is on my website, like Tom Bigby. So that first phrase is down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. So essentially what you're doing is if you think of your waltz as 3 quarter notes, or sorry, 3 half note. Yeah, 3 quarter notes. It would be down, 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 down. Let's just use the open G string. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So those are all quarters. And if you want 8th notes, it becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. 1, 2, 3. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the general idea. It's more similar to a reel than to a jig, where you're kind of your go-to formula is that down, up, down, up, down, up. So taking it into a tune, if you kind of watch my right hand, it's just going to be doing this the whole time. Another thing you can do is an exercise I've talked about a couple times probably in various lessons is turning a tune that has quarter note and eighth notes into straight eighth notes. So it'd be... etc. And that's going to sort of force your right. It's not really the way that waltzes generally sound, but if you take out all of those repeat notes, you can still see my hand going down, up, down, up. So that's the underlying formula. Great question on pick directions for waltzes. All right, let me see here. Have you read Niles Hokanen's book, The Pentatonic Mandolin? I have not, no. I've seen his name a bunch. I know that he has a bunch of great kind of publications out there. I haven't read it. I have mixed feelings about pentatonics just in the way that I play music as like mainly a fiddle tune player. I think pentatonics are helpful, but also, so pentatonic is a 5-note scale. If you add 2 more notes, you get 7-note scale, which is your full major scale, and you also then have access to all of the more colorful tones of a scale that sort of the pentatonic scale will often leave out. And a pentatonic scale is nice because if you don't exactly know the chord progression, but you know the key, you can make stuff that sounds good. But just by adding in those 2 other notes, you know, so it would be the 4th scale degree. There's pentatonic. The scale degrees are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So if you're playing, you can do this all day. But anytime there's a C chord, one of the best notes you can play when you find a C chord in the key of G is this C note, which is not in pentatonic. And I'm not, this is not a critique of Niles. This is just my own thought on pentatonics and how I play music. So I know that jazz musicians love thinking about pentatonics. I've just never really gotten into it myself. But just to continue that thought, you know, when you get to a C chord, it's nice to be able to have that C note. Or when you have a D, having access to that F sharp is really nice. So you kind of have these important kind of chord tones that get left out, in my opinion, from your C chord. So, you know, if you're playing in the key of G, your chords are G, C, and D. Your chord tones for G are G, B, and D. Those are all in your pentatonic. But you get to a C chord, your chord tones are C, E, and G. You got the E and G, but that pentatonic scale leaves out that C, which is a third of kind of the nice kind of landing notes to hit when you kind of have a C chord upcoming. And likewise with the key of D, or so the D chord in the key of G, your chord tones are D, E, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A, and you're leaving out that F sharp by playing a pentatonic scale. So, and that's especially, you know, having the third of your D chord. This is getting a little music theory, so no worries if you're confused at this point. But for those of you that think about music theory, I think it's helpful to have those notes in there, and it's just 2 more. And rather than, you know, getting, there was I think I kind of I never really studied pentatonics all that much, But I definitely played, like, just kind of, I think probably picking up by ear, figured out, like, hey, I can play these notes, and they're going to sound good no matter where I play them in a 3-chord song. And coming from folk music, that was like, okay, that's a nice, safe, easy thing to do. But once I added in that 4th and 7th degree of the G scale that gets left out by pentatonics, then I was like, oh, now I can really craft more melodic ideas and really give shape to some of my improvisations and melodies in general. Hope that's helpful. Again, not a critique of Niles's information. I know he's a great teacher and a great mandolin player. I just, this is my own kind of experience with the kind of music that I end up playing and sort of my thoughts on pentatonics. Let's see. Someone. Nice, yep. Definitely. You know, when somebody else in your house is humming the melody to a tune you're trying to learn, then you've got it. It was a great, various periods in my life I've lived in houses with like other musicians that would give lessons, and it was great practice because, you know, they were really breaking things down, and I could be sitting in the other room like answering email or something kind of menial repetitive task, and by the end of their lesson, sort of giving a lesson to a student, I could be like, oh, now I know that tune, and then I can figure it out on the mandolin. And it's good ear practice too. So your wife is becoming a musician if she doesn't play already. Well, she's learning tunes anyway, even if she does already play an instrument. I would love to come back to Michigan. Do you have a preference on the thickness of your pick? How does a new player decide how to choose a pick? I think the best way is just spend $10 on a variety of pick sizes and shapes. Don't go after any of the really expensive stuff, at least right off the bat if you're new to it. I like large triangle, kind of this large triangle shape. This pick is 1.5 millimeters. This is made by Dunlop. It's Dunlop Primetone. It's fairly similar to a blue chip pick, which I used to use and are very popular, but also like $35. This one costs like $2 or less. But I think there's huge different preferences for picks. I also use kind of the standard, put it on my forehead so you can actually see it, thinner, like 1 millimeter, regular guitar shaped picks. I would say get a handful of picks, just like go to a music store, and they often have those little pick displays. Pick a bunch of different shapes and materials and sizes. Don't get anything super expensive, and see what you like. Your preference might change over time as well, so keep those picks around. You can always go back and try them out later. There's a really cool thing that I like that's happening on the Mandolin Cafe forum. I don't know where it's at this point, but or if it's even going during COVID, but there's a traveling mandolin pick sampler. And I think somebody's just put together, like, I think it started with somebody who was like, I've got all these picks that I don't use. I'll send them on so everybody can try them out. And I think it works like you can take one out, but you have to put in more than you take or something. So it's kind of like a lending library of picks that travels around in the mail. So you can try all sorts of stuff. Or maybe you're not allowed to take them at all. Maybe you can only add to them. But you get the opportunity to try them all out, which is fun. Definitely worth, $10 as for the, you might not use all $10 worth of picks, but spend $10 on a bunch of different picks, and it'll teach you, it'll be $10 well spent. And then if you don't use some, you can give them away to people who need picks or have spares, whatever it may be. Because it just, everybody has different preferences and there's no right answer. Do you find it difficult to find cases for your more unusual instruments? Do I ever? Oh man, yes. yes. So yeah, I've got a lot of weird instruments back there, 10-string bouzouki's, strange little tenor guitars. It's a constant challenge. Any advice for adding chords to a melody when they're not shown in the music, beyond 1-4-5? Great question. It's a huge topic. I think once you really have 1-4-5 down, then kind of, I think that it's really cumulative. It's hard. Like I could say, like, yeah, learn 2 minor, 3 minor, 6 minor, 2 major, 3 major, but that's just sort of like throwing a bunch of chords at you. I think once you get 1, 4, and 5, listen, I think just like create this little alert in your mind that anytime something happens that's not a 1, 4, and 5, it should just like set off a big flag in your head of like not a 1, 4, 5 chord, even if you don't know what it is. Then you can use a little trial and error, like a 6 minor, so like E minor in the key of G. You'll find things that are more common. It depends on the kind of music you're playing. But mostly really build that sense of not a 1, 4, 5. Maybe have a, like, say, is it a 6 chord? And then you can kind of trial and error in the same way that you built up your familiarity with 1, 4, 5. What about 6, 8 or something like that, where it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and eighth notes? Do you stress down, up, down, up, down, up? So what you do in 6, 8, especially, at least in like Irish jigs, is the pattern is down, up, down, down, up, down. So it's a repeating down, up, down, 3-note pattern. Down, up, down, down, up, down. Because your foot's still tapping, I'll tap it kind of loud here for a second. You know, whether you're playing a reel, this is down, up, down, up. But with a jig, it's... So you always want to have that downbeat on the downstroke on the downbeat. So in order to do that, your pick direction becomes down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. Versus if you have it down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It sort of loses the swing of that second set of 3. So like your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because you're doing like a softer upstroke on that 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can make it, you can stress it, but it's much more stylistic and groovy to do down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. It's a little more insistent, a little more driving. There are lessons on my website, MandoLessons.com, that in the technique and fundamentals section about pick direction for reels and jigs that give you some exercises and things like that. Speaking of my website, my buddy Scott has been working hard on my website. It's better than ever. It's got a better search functionality. It's got some filtering options when you're looking through fiddle tunes. So you can say, I want to see all the tunes in the key of D, etc. He spruced up the donation page, so it works better than ever. Go, Scott, go. If you ever need any really high-end web design, check out IQ Foundry. They're the best. And he's a great mandolin player, too. I always associate major pentatonics with migra. Oh, yeah. Where? Yeah. I won't play that too closely so I don't get copyrighted, but yeah, totally. When I'm playing instruments in 4th tuning, like the ukulele, the pentatonic major makes it easier to improvise. 5th scales. Oh, that's a good thought. I don't have a huge amount of experience with 4th tuned instruments. I mostly just play chords on guitar, but that's a good thing to think about. Oh, yeah, I love Motown. James Jamerson is my bass hero. Maybe not personal lifestyle hero, but I want to play electric bass just like James. All right, AJG from the Middle East. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a good evening, probably, at this point. The Road to Boston. A raucous and goofy version of Road to Boston. Alright, maybe we'll do She Bakes You More in a little bit as well. Cool. Awesome. A couple of requests for She Bakes You More. Glad to see it. Getting my first mandolin in the next few weeks. Very cool, Lewis. When all the shops open again here in Scotland. Always exciting to get a new instrument. Speaking of bass and Motown, I saw an interesting little clip of Carol Kay, also one of the best. She said, you have to play so that the metronome sounds like it's grooving. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Carol Kay quotes, and favorite quotes in general. You know, the metronome can be a really sterile thing. Maybe I'll try. I'm not very good at this, but I'll try. Get a little metronome going here. Metronomes can be very kind of sterile and boring to play along with. Let me get this somewhere that it'll... So, you know, you could go like... And that's great practice because it's, you know, you're really working on nailing that beat and being right on top of it. But you can also, if you can, like, play with enough groove to make the metronome sound fun, that's cool. You know, really play around with it and try to... It's a great way to build in groove into your playing. I should do that more. That's really fun. Okay, quite a windy road to Boston, indeed. Nick asks, where are Ellis mandolins based? That's the mandolin that I'm playing here. Tom Ellis is based out of Austin, Texas. Same town as Collings mandolins. And guitars, and they build all kinds of stuff. But, yeah, Tom's out of Austin. I really love his instruments. Hope to get down there and visit his shop and meet him one day. I had grand plans, but then COVID. Nice. Wayne says, I'm 2 weeks into learning, have yet to start a song. The intimidation factor is killing me due to the muscle training. I'd say just jump in, you know, have fun. Try out my beginner series. That gets you playing a song by like lesson 3 or 4 or something. You can totally get it. And the more you do it, the better you'll get, the more fun you'll have, the more you'll want to play, the better you'll get, the quicker you'll play, the more fun you'll have, the more you'll want to play. It's very cyclical study. Nice. Sierra Hall apparently also loves to play with the metronome. Glad to hear it. Cindy. Yeah, definitely go with Cindy. It's a great tune. bit of Cindy. I love that tune. I love playing that tune on the banjo. One of my all-time favorite banjo tunes. Oh, Liberty, yeah. This is one of the tunes that I can never remember how it goes. Is it, Is this Liberty? Speaking of letting your muscle memory go out the window. That was fun. Nice. I'm glad that was Liberty. That's one of the tunes, like Liberty and Soldier's Joy and like 2 or 3 others. Just can't keep them straight. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for joining in, Steve. Glad to have you here. Have any gigs soon? No gigs. No gigs now. I'm teaching at the formerly March Mandolin Festival coming up in May. It's the second weekend in May, I think. Can't remember. But if you go to marchmandolinfestival.com, it got pushed from March to May this year. Marla Fibish and... Oh no, I'm blanking on who the other mandolin teacher is. It's been a little while. I kind of got fiddle hell on my brain still. Oh, come on, brain. Can't remember. But there's going to be a bunch of great mandolin teachers. A whole weekend dedicated to mandolin. It's one of my favorite camps to teach at. It's usually in New Hampshire. But it's run by the most excellent David Surratt, incredible mandolin player and everything player and singer. You name it, he does it. And it's online this year, so it's all going to be a good time. And again, marchmandolinfestival.com. And then maybe main fiddle camp in June. I'm still thinking about that. Information to be coming. I'm not sure if I'm teaching or working the back end. Probably will be teaching, but I haven't totally heard yet, so that's always going to be fun too. Liberty is not just a simple little tune. Well, you don't need to make it that weird. But if you want to, yeah, it's definitely... Oh, how would Sam Bush play it? I'm not a very good Sam Bush impersonator. Groovy, nice double stops, extremely tasteful. That was my pale imitation of what Sam Bush does so well. Yeah, VMFC, Virtual Main Fiddle Camp in June. It's happening. I think I'm teaching, but I don't really know yet. More info to be coming. Alright, awesome. AJG's coming home. Gonna get his mandolin back out. Glad you at least got a guitar with you. Any thoughts on making a banjo lessons section of the website? I play banjo, I play some clawhammer, but I don't really... Mandolin's the only instrument that I really know what I'm doing. All the other instruments, I've got lots of bad habits and kind of just do my own thing and don't really know how to explain what I'm doing. It would certainly help me to teach it, but there's a lot of great... If you're looking for clawhammer or two-finger lessons, any kind of lessons, I learned from Josh Turknet, Banjo, clawhammerbanjo.net. He's got a bunch of different names for all the stuff that he does. He's great. That's sort of where I learned. And also Tom Collins is a great banjo YouTuber. He's got a great Patreon site and all sorts of great deep knowledge of the five-string banjo for clawhammer style. Is it just David Surratt and Marla and I? Maybe it is. I should just look it up. Let's see here. Maybe it's just... Oh yeah, there you go. Marla, David, and myself. Nice. Clawhammer guitar. Molly Tuttle does some clawhammer guitar that's very cool. Cool, Lewis. I'm glad you enjoy the solo clawhammer banjo. It's an album I have. If anyone is interested in banjo, you can find it through links on my website. Yeah, it's fine. I like doing what I do on banjo, but I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know how to teach it. I feel like there's some difference between like playing and teaching. That banjo and guitar for me are very kind of tricky to teach because I mostly am just self-taught, which I guess is true on the mandolin. I guess I just spend so much time teaching mandolin that I feel comfortable doing it, and then trying to figure that out on banjo and guitar and how to teach it is tricky. Too many things in the world. All right, let's play a little Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase. It's that end of the hour. Thank you all for tuning in and sticking with me. Always fun to do these and see everybody in the chat. A quick note for tomorrow for patrons. I see a bunch of you in the chat here. So anyone that supports me on Patreon at $5 a month plus gets a once a month patron only live stream. That's happening tomorrow. So check out Patreon to get the details on that for those of you that are or are interested in the patron only live streams. They're super fun. just kind of a version of this where I can get a little more in depth because there's less people and I have an easier time keeping up with the chat. So yeah, let's play a little Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase. Key of C. If you don't know this tune, just see what you can grab on the fly. It's good ear practice. If you do know the tune but you just learned it, good time to just play through it a bunch and really build it into your muscle memory. If you've been playing Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase for a long time, see if you can throw in some double stops and some ornaments and improvisation, things like that. I'll lead us through it. We'll start out, I'll play the melody, you play the chords, and then we can swap back and forth. If you want to look at this tune later, it is on my website. Again, MandoLessons.com, and the tune is Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase. Key of C, got 3 parts, a little bit crooked, so just use your ears and see what you can pick up. 1, 2, 3, 4. B part. C. C2. You take it. D part. C. Take it. B part. Both play it together. There we go, a little bit of Tennessee Mountain Fox Chase. Let me know what tune you'd like to do next week. Maybe an Irish tune. Pick one that we haven't done yet. Throw out some names. If it's on my website, well, I'll pick it. So start throwing that stuff out while I answer the last couple questions here. Thank you all for sticking around. I saw a couple things. Introduction to tenor guitar. I actually have a website called tenorguitarlessons.com. It's got an introduction to tenor guitar in G-D-A-D tuning. If you play in G-D-A-E, you can you just use MandoLessons with a different kind of fingering of a longer scale instrument. If you play in C-G-D-A, it's like a mandola. It's a little harder to get one-on, like, kind of straight parallel lessons from my stuff, but tenorguitarlessons.com has some information. Oh yeah, I'll play a little shebang more. Oh, actually, yeah, what about, have we done that as a play along? Here comes that time where I look, and I think we might have done that not too long ago, but oops, wrong one. List of play along jams. Yes, we did that episode 89. So not too long ago, we already did Shebang More. Nice. AJG on guitar on that one. Glad to hear it. Always nice to know you're playing along with a guitar player. Yeah, Fox got away from me a little there. Me too. That's kind of a wild tune to just kind of jump into. Jig of slurs. Great question. Boom. We got it. All right. This is not a two-part tune, not a three-part tune, but a four-part tune next time. Jig of slurs. One of the first Irish tunes I ever learned. It's the tune that really helped me figure out my right hand pick direction. Jig of slurs. Ooh, Kesh Jig is also good. We might have already done Kesh Jig, but if not, we'll do that one soon. Let me just make sure. Oh, you haven't done the Kesh Jig either. So the link to the tenor guitar lessons is tenorguitarlessons.com. All one word, no dashes or anything. Cool. Awesome, Sentry. Glad to have you here. Thank you all for joining in on this fine Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are at. See you next time for some Jig of Slurs and all sorts of good stuff. Ann's first time tuning in, playing baritone uke converted to tenor guitar. Very cool. Will I do more tenor guitar lessons? Probably not. MandoLessons takes up most of my time, so what you gonna do? But it's actually a Scottish jig. I think I knew that, but not very much. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's got a little Scottish feel. So yeah, cool. I don't know if that's labeled correctly on my website, but I should fix that up if not. So yes, next time the Scottish jig. Four parts, super fun. Check it out. You can always learn it beforehand on my website, MandoLessons.com. Thank you to everyone. Patrons, see you tomorrow. Thank you for supporting me in whatever way you do. Greatly appreciated. And Carl the Pumpkin is about to start playing the mandolin. Any tips? Yeah, go to MandoLessons.com. Check out my beginner's series, and that will get you going on how to hold the instrument and everything like that. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.